Welcome into WagerTalk TV. I am Drew Martin, joined by Rob Veno and Tony Finn of WagerTalk.com, talking some Sunday NFL action, a divisional matchup here, Tony. We get Indianapolis at Tennessee. We're seeing Titans -2 in the hook here, -2.5-point home favorites, 43.5 being the total. You liking anything in Nashville on Sunday, Tony?
I believe personally that the Colts, they're getting a little healthier. They really need to get a lot healthier to do some serious reversal of their form that they had early on this year. It helped that they were able to kind of get a little bit of a pseudo revenge, right, on Jacksonville. Jacksonville shuts them out, and then that's a big swing. Then they come back and score, what was it, 49, whatever that was. It was ridiculous. 34 on the Jags after scoring nothing. Matt Ryan took a vacation because they didn't even come close to bothering Matt. And, Frank Wright took a deep breath because his offense actually, was pass heavy and executed it, right? They had, I think the split was something like 16-17 to 55-58 right there, a run pass split, which is not necessarily, that's not the preference, I don't think, of Frank Wright. We know that. However, when you don't have, your top running back, it's pretty difficult, even for an experienced veteran like Matt Ryan, to keep the pocket clean. And they did a good job. They really did. They're really an interesting read for me. No healthy running backs. Matt Ryan, who we all know is near the bottom of that slide, the back side of the slide of a career. I don't think, Matt Ryan, not that Atlanta falls into this container this year maybe, but I've always said that he wasn't the same and they weren't the same team since that meltdown against the Patriots in the Super Bowl a few years back. Really, really interesting team. 3-2, the 3-2 Colts. They got that tie. They were looking pretty bleak, 1-2-1. Now Tennessee, I still am not. I'm one of those that didn't believe in Tennessee last year. I thought their number one seed in the AFC was a mirage. It was a situational benefit that they got that, and we saw them fail pretty miserably in the postseason. The Titans this year, they're still leaning awful heavy on the running game. Their run pass is much different. In fact, they aren't a very good passing team if Henry's not running the ball effectively. So my take on this game is this, and that is I believe that if you put these two teams on a scale of justice, that Indianapolis is going to weigh more than Tennessee. I think they're the team, if they're going to trust two teams that we know have some talent, have the ability to win games on grit and basically digging in and just being as tough as they can be, that right now, I believe it or not, I'm going to have to favor Indianapolis. They are just, I trust Frank Wright more than I trust Vrabel. But to win by double digits here is what I had to feel very comfortable that this Colts team is capable of winning by double digits over this Tennessee team. I believe that. I'm on the Colts minus the number here.
Looking towards the Colts side of things, Robbie, what are you thinking? Nashville Saturday or Sunday, 1 p.m. Eastern kick.
Yeah, I think I'll build my case for the Colts situationally and then backfit the fundamentals into it, Drew. But situationally, we all know that these NFL games have a pecking order. Divisional are the most important. Conference are the second most important. Non-conference rate as third. And believe it or not, due to some weirdo scheduling quirk, Indianapolis is now going to play their fifth divisional game in the first 7 weeks of the season. They don't play a division team after this until the very last game of the year when they face Houston. So it's unbelievable to think that the schedule maker threw 5 division games at them this quickly. And their record hasn't been that good against them. They're 1-2-1. They needed to get a divisional win last week against Jacksonville. They did. Somehow, some way, they grinded it out. They need a divisional win against Tennessee here. They were beaten by Tennessee the first time. Remember, these things, when push comes to shove, if you tie for a division title, then these divisional records are what comes first in the tie-breaking process, so they're important. I think Indianapolis, for that reason, has a situational edge. I think even if it's not an edge, guys, if you think that Tennessee having a bye week is a big edge, then I would say they offset each other. For Tennessee, however, you could say this. You could obviously argue back, if Tennessee wins this game, they become 2-0 inside the division. They really take a firm grasp on leadership in that particular division, so it means something to them as well. To Tony's point about Indianapolis being pass-heavy last week, how about they threw 58 times and did not get sacked one time against Jacksonville? That offensive line, which many have rated as one of the elite in the National Football League, hasn't always played elite, but last week they protected an immobile quarterback pretty well, and they found their way to over 350 passing yards and a win against Jacksonville. Again, I think there's some emerging things happening offensively that are positive for Indianapolis. We know Michael Pittman Jr. is a good receiver. He tore it up last week. Alec Pierce, the rookie from Cincinnati, has been a nice number 2. And now Paris Campbell all of a sudden is getting the praise from his head coach, Frank Reich, as a guy who's ready to bust out the remainder of the season. Remember, Matt Ryan had to get accustomed to all of these guys. And now we're 7 weeks deep. He's had a couple of 300-plus passing games. We could sit here and rip Matt Ryan, which isn't difficult to do. But if you're going to do that, you have to rip Ryan Tannehill. The Tennessee passing game is non-existent. I think it's about 178 pass yards per game. Tony mentioned how heavy they lean on Derrick Henry. And basically, it's been a cleaning house of wide receivers in Tennessee last couple of years. And now you're stuck with, Treylon Burks is injured. So you have Robert Woods, but really no vertical threat on this team after him. So they really are one-dimensional. There's a lot of players injured for both sides that could be back here. For Indianapolis, you may get back Kwity Paye, pass rusher deluxe. You may get back Shaquille Leonard, formerly known as Darius Leonard. You may get back both running backs. You may not. All 4 are questionable as we speak right here. But on the other side, 4 top defenders, Amani Hooker, Zach Cunningham, Bud Dupree, all questionable here. So I think those even offset each other. So if I offset the advantage situationally, if I offset the situation injury-wise and just look at the 2 teams on the field, I think Indianapolis is probably better. I think they're more explosive. I think they got more ways to move the football than does Tennessee. And they've got revenge from the first game where they lost to Tennessee. And they lost that game, by the way, guys, 24-17, losing the turnover margin 3-0, and Tennessee getting 2 short field touchdowns, a 25 and a 38-yard touchdown drive in that game because they forced turnovers. If Indianapolis cleans that stuff up, probably win here. So I'll take the Colts plus the 3 points.
Looking towards the Colts. You just heard from Robbie Veno, Tony Finn as well. Check them both out, WagerTalk.com. Guys, also check out the WagerTalk live odds screen there. Update right now, -2.5, little juice on it with the Colts. So, yeah, guys, you heard it there. Tennessee, -2 in the hook. Great place to check that out. The live odds tab, WagerTalk.com.